What's going on, everyone? We're back with another YouTube video. So I'm sure you guys are aware of the new MCU show that's came out. It's highly praised and critically acclaimed. Of course, the show I'm talking about is Wonderman. I watched the entire thing as soon as it dropped, fellas, a few weeks ago, and I really enjoyed it. So if you haven't seen that, you better go watch it. But not before you hit subscribe on my channel. Do that first, and then you can dip out to witness peak. And when I say peak, I mean peak in the way that shows like this should be praised for, being the story, the visuals, the cinematography, the acting, the amazing chemistry between the main actors, the trials and tribulations they go through as the story progresses, you know, stuff that you're actually supposed to praise or criticize stories for. But it seems for some reason there just seems to be people out there that are always just somewhat incapable of enjoying media just at the mere sight of a black person on the screen. Why? I don't know. Whatever it is, it's probably the same reason for their somewhat perverse but also somewhat flattering obsession with black people on Twitter, which of course has absolutely nothing to do with race as well, right guys?
Intriguing.
Yeah, so that brings us to this guy who just goes on a whole tirade about how Wonderman is apparently race-baiting anti-superhero slop. Well, this should be fun to laugh at. With that being said, before we get into this, y'all be sure to like the video and subscribe. With that being said, let's get into the video.
Well, Disney Plus dropped Wonderman, the show nobody wanted, the show nobody asked for, a black replacement character of the comic book character, again.
Who cares? Cry about it. I don't understand this logic of dissing a show because no one asked for it. No one even asked for the MCU to exist at the time they started making movies, yet they did, and we got good shows and movies like Iron Man, The Winter Soldier, the Avengers movies, and the Guardians movies, which, mind you, no one asked for those either because barely anyone even knew who the Guardians were before the movies. Yet when it's a character like Ironheart, Agatha, or Wonderman, all of a sudden it gets all this extreme nitpicky criticism, and it's somewhat justified because no one asked for it. It's funny how you guys only say this when the lead character is a minority or a female.
Intriguing.
Not to mention, we're in 2026 and you guys are still crying about characters being race swapped. Where were you guys when the Deep was race swapped from being a black man in the comics? Or when characters like Sunspot gets regularly whitewashed from being black in most of the media he's in? Oh wait, they don't care about that though.
It's a Disney Plus woke monstrosity. But guys, it's got a lot of references. Mandarin, wow! And so a lot of the soy jacks are going out there standing for the show, saying it's better than everything else out there on Disney Plus. And I actually watched the first couple of episodes. I will admit right off the bat, it's pretty competently written for what it is, but it's not a superhero show. It's not the MCU, and it still maintains all of the woke trappings of everything else that nobody even calls out anymore because it's so permeated in culture.
No, it's because people are realizing that you guys never actually cared about the culture or the media that you call out, which is really just you guys lying about stuff most of the time. And 99.9% of the time you guys make a fuss, you really just want an excuse to shit on a minority character. And woke trapping? Nah, dog. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but media's always been woke. Even the older ones that came out when you were younger, they all had messaging in it. You just didn't comprehend the messaging at the time because you were a kid.
It's so done in everything now that it's like you can't even talk about that. That's not woke. It's like now, like they've pushed the Overton window so far that unless you see like transgender dudes banging each other in an orgy, like and pooping on screen or something like that, you can't call it woke, right? Huh? And this is like absurd because the wokeism has a lot of components to it and people forget it. It's about diversity, equity, and inclusivity, right? And those three things, DEI, stem from three different components. It's the feminism components of things. It's the replacement of white people and the replacement of our entire culture and everything.
What the fuck is he talking about? I'm about to post this on YouTube. He's delusional.
See, this is the problem with this fucking racist-ass mindset. You think that minorities having more representation and being included in more media is an inherent negative because it will lead to the replacement of white people, even though the number of prominent roles in media as a whole are still overwhelmingly white? It's crazy because Wonderman isn't really a character where being white matters. It's the personality that does, so he could pretty much be played by anyone. Which is funny because that was basically one of the central points of the show. The director of the Wonderman movie, Von Kovac, he doesn't give a fuck if the person who plays Wonderman is white or not, which, you know, is probably because he's not racist and he understands that a race-neutral role can in fact be played by any race. And Simon Williams literally gets selected because, as the director stated, he was the best person for the job out of all the candidates, even the white ones.
Stupid.
He wasn't selected exclusively because he was black. We literally saw him earn the role. How did you watch the show and still miss the fucking point?
And it's also then pushing the homosexual agenda as a third thing.
Homosexual agenda? I mean, I don't remember seeing any gay people in Wonderman, and even if there were,
I missed the part where that's my problem.
I don't know, man. Gay people just seem to live rent-free in y'all heads, little bro. And I did a little bit of digging on you, and apparently, Mr. Jon Del Arroz, you don't seem to mesh with women very well. It's not a good look, my guy. You might want to focus that energy away from minorities in the LGBTQ community and put it towards getting a therapist.
So, this is it. Wonderman review, 4 out of 5. A Marvel show with no superhero action, and it's all the better for it. So, guys, again, your modern audience, here we are. Look at who's reviewing. Yes, this wine ant white woman, Lucy Mangan, likes the fact that it's a superhero show that's not a superhero show.
Damn, these racist white dudes don't even like their own women, bro. That's fucking crazy. Yet these same mofos preaching Nazi shit get upset when the women they abuse and disrespect on the regular choose to date outside their race. Maybe it's all of you Nazi weirdos out there, instead of peddling this great white replacement theory BS, maybe focus on treating your women better. And I just love how he says Wonderman isn't a superhero show, and he says it as some sort of a diss. That's the point, genius. Didn't you guys always used to complain about how the MCU never tried anything different and that the formula got so boring and stale? But now when they do switch it up, it's an issue. Make it make sense.
Intriguing.
I mean, you can't, because racism in general doesn't make any sense, but still, make it make sense.
And that's what it is. The first couple of episodes feature this guy who is an actor. An actor. He's trying to be an actor, and he's super insufferable on set. He'll just be like, yeah, I don't understand the motivation of why this superhero like sidekick is following him around, and like and trying to delve so deep into things, he irritates the hell out of everybody and gets fired from everything. So it's like he's showing, but it's meant to do a couple things. One, it's meant to make him sympathetic because he's down on his luck, right? Two, it's showing that the black guy is smarter than everybody else, is deeper than everybody else. That's a big portion of what this is, because remember, this is a replacement character for a white character.
What? If anything, what you just mentioned does the exact opposite. Showcasing Simon's character flaws through his tendency to overthink things, his tendency to be self-centered, and completely closed off to the people around him, including his former girlfriend. I don't know how you watched all of that and then got black people are smarter than everyone else. Like, what the fuck? These people are fucking sick.
And of course, the ironic part is he's going to audition for the part of Wonderman, an old character, which is an old hokey show, which was played by a white guy. So he's going to be a black replacement for a white character in the show as well. It's a woke within a woke, a play within a play.
Again, if you think that, you missed the whole fucking point of Wonderman. Simon taking on the role in the show had nothing to do with his race and everything to do with his talent. There's nothing about Wonderman that says he exclusively has to be a white guy.
Isn't that genius, guys? Yeah, it's tiring, right?
I'm sure it is. It must be so tiring to see a black man perform well in a show and see success and get good reviews.
Intriguing.
Please keep going and continue to expose yourself for us, please.
So he goes home to his apartment to where his white girlfriend is, of course, right? And at that point, she turns on him, leaves him because he's not putting enough into the relationship, and he's totally fine with that. Then he finds out that the Mandarin actor is going to be trying out for Wonderman. So this is again one of those like wink, wink, nod, nod. Remember the reference Mandarin? Yes, aren't we funny? Like sort of meta commentary things that's like, oh gosh, stop with the like almost breaking of the fourth wall.
He's being referred to as Mandarin because that's how people in the MCU world view him. This guy was an international phenomenon for years on end. That's not something that people who see him out and about are just gonna shrug off. I'm not sure what your issue is here.
Now all these real actors end up in the show, and you get to go and you get to point out who they are if you know who they are. Oh, how wow. So wow. Yeah, it's just like very much slop writing. That's surface level, pretending to look deep as usual.
Oh no, actors being referenced in a show about acting. Marvel Studios just committed the ultimate sin here. This show is now an insufferable slop fest because Marvel dared to have a couple of popular actors show up in a show about the acting industry. Shame on them.
Now, we've already had white girlfriend. We've already had black guy who's smarter and better than everybody, but down on his luck because nobody will give him a chance. And he runs into a board meeting in his agent's office to start this as well. Now, the agent is a chunky black woman, and she's at the head of the table. Everybody else in the agency is a white male. And she dismisses them, and she's the boss. Yes, it's just like, oh gosh, this is so tiring.
I mean, if you actually watch the whole fucking scene, as Simon is walking through the agency, there's all sorts of people, from black people to white people to Asian people, and even some of the people in the room with Janelle are not just white men, there's also women in there. And the show never shows Janelle being dismissive of them at any point.
And she dismisses them, and she's the boss. Yes.
That's a nice argument, Senator. Why don't you back it up with a source?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Man, the white victimhood of racists like this are on another level, bro. I swear. Like, you just sound delusional.
It's the race crap and race war stuff over and over and over again with Disney. And again, nobody's going to be talking about this. And the reason nobody's going to be talking about this is you've pretty much accepted race swaps are happening. I mean, I get this when I was reviewing Absolute Batman, and I'm like, they race swapped Barbara Gordon. I got a ton of comments just like, it's an alternate universe, it's fine. They race swapped Catwoman. They race swapped Black Cat in Ultimate Spider-Man as well. It's fine. It's okay in this one. It's okay. It's okay. You know, you get the people, like, you've totally been conditioned to accept this at this point.
No, it's not about conditioning. It's just not a big deal. There's nothing about any of these characters that says they have to be white. Being white isn't important to Barbara Gordon's character, it's not important to Selena Kyle's character, and it's not important to Felicia Hardy's character. It's almost like people aren't making a big deal about it because it's not a big deal.
No way!
Sorry that most people who just want to enjoy media aren't as racist as you are.
Every Netflix show is this. Every Apple TV show. Every movie is this, right? And so what do you do? Well, I can't watch anything otherwise. Yeah, well, it kind of is that way.
Then, I mean, just don't watch. No one is forcing you to watch these shows and movies. It's just that when you guys get mad at this type of shit, you have to make it everyone else's problem. I don't know what to tell you, little bro. But then again, if a black man being in a lead role bothers you this much to the point where you refuse to watch a whole show over it, then, you know, you got other issues you need to sort out, fam.
Right? It's really, really sad. But I think it's important to keep recognizing it and keep calling it out because we do have to push this back.
No, you don't, incel, because there's nothing to push back. Pro-diversity does not automatically mean anti-white. You guys only think this because historically in America, being pro-white has always meant being anti-diversity to an extent, and especially anti-black. Minorities just want to live their lives, bro, and have opportunities, same as you. The fact that this is still a debate in 2026 on the internet is crazy.
Here it is, a gem of a series, says this woman who doesn't like superhero shows, right? About an actor with superpowers. It's clever, tender take on male friendship and the film industry. It's a triumph of storytelling and a masterclass in acting. Yes. So I got through episode 2, and again, nothing's happened. They're like doing acting coaching and being actors, and that's fine. Again, if you had this like vignette piece of this like random actor being coached by an older actor, and that was the thing, like a cool indie film. But the problem is what happens is these writers who don't care about comics and don't like comics come in here, they have their own story in mind, and then they pitch their own story on these properties, and they get in through nepotism or whatever, and then they just do their own story and not the actual properties. So you don't know anything about Wonderman, the character. You don't know anything about the comic book. It doesn't feel like a comic book character. It's an anti-comic book show, and it's the same crap Disney Plus has been doing over and over and over again with everything. We had, Agatha Harkness, which was not a superhero show. We had WandaVision, artsy and edgy and not a superhero show. We had Loki, this time-traveling, not a superhero show. Gosh, how many not a superhero shows can we have?
I'm curious to what exactly you define as a superhero show. These are all still superhero shows. It's just that for most people nowadays, the superhero element isn't enough to keep people entertained. Superhero media is much more interesting when you focus on the human aspects outside of their powers. Something tells me that if they just did another superhero show where the hero spends the whole time chasing a bad guy and learning how to use their powers, you'd be sitting here complaining that it's generic and stale.
This is why the MCU is failing. As much as the mainstream media is going to love this, and as much as so many people have tuned out at this point that the Rotten Tomato scores are actually going to be high for the audience because nobody's watching or caring about this whatsoever.
Wait, okay, so nobody's watching this, but at the same time, there's a lot of people watching who cared enough to review it and praise it. What you just said made literally no sense.
This is just the same woke casting slop, doing the same diversity replacement slop, doing a non-superhero, anti-superhero MCU sort of thing to say that, you know, we don't even want superhero shows because maybe it's fatigue that's causing us to have these low ratings. And Disney knows it. That's why they released all 8 episodes at once.
No, they released them all at once because the format has evolved in the sense that these miniseries are essentially just extended movies. They're not really designed to sustain eyes over weeks or months on end like a traditional show is. They just wanted to fully showcase a grounded little story, and that's what Wonderman is.
So is it worth continuing? Absolutely not. It is a pretty boring show where not much is happening. If you're looking for an action superhero genre, that's not what this is. It is something else. It's this like vignette indie film with a black replacement character, and that's what we have.
Yeah. So me, on the other hand, I highly recommend Wonderman because there's a lot to love about the show, like the visual aesthetic, the cinematography is very beautifully and very well shot. The show excels at being a character study for Simon, along with the dynamic between him and Trevor Slattery being exceedingly entertaining. I love how they took a concept that people hated in Iron Man 3 and made it 100 times better. And most of all, the fact that it's kind of the inverse of what you normally see in most superhero shows, where instead of a person learning to use his powers to become a superhero, it's a story about a normal dude achieving a more grounded dream, and he just happens to have superpowers. Moreover, powers that had a tendency to get in the way of what he wanted to do at times. All of that with the fact that for the first time in a while, a superhero show actually stuck the landing with the ending, making the entire show very worthwhile. Anyways, guys, that's gonna be it for the video. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys like what you see, be sure to like the video, share, comment on the video, and subscribe if you haven't already. These racists will always seethe, they will continue to seethe, and I will continue to dunk on them and laugh at them. Thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, I'm out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
I'm coming